Yes, we are back. Episode 9. This is Barrio Mundo on K-Chung Radio. Wow. It's like 70 something degrees right now.
Where is it? It's in the 80s when I looked.
Oh yeah, I honestly don't know. Anytime it's hot, I just know it's hot. Like I don't even. I'm like, as long as it's not raining or windy, I'm like, all right, fine. Put the tank top on. Put the shorts on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just know I don't need to have a hoodie today. Until like 8 or 9. So yeah, it's crazy. But it's a nice little change. We had some rain a little bit ago, and then we had, of course, the fires. And that. Blah blah blah. We know about that. But so we got a very special guest in the building today, founder of one of my favorite news sites, Ontherag.vip. If you don't know about that, make sure you check that out. And on Instagram also at the same name, in Casual Encounters, Sammy, Loren.
What's up? Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I've always been very strong on the K-Chung issue. Very strong.
Yeah, K-Chung. Shout out to the whole K-Chung family, man. It's crazy. I've had this show for maybe like about 10 years or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I was just not in like a place where I could like focus or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, I don't know, too deep in the scene or something like that, It's just that I couldn't.
Like you were staying out too late. You were partying too much.
I mean,
I had that problem.
Yeah, and then also just not focused. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now, like, I'm definitely in a better space, to take this more seriously. So, yeah, but all of those shows are like, I don't even think I archived them.
Oh wow.
Like that's kind of how just stressed out and pressed I was. I just couldn't wrap my head around, like you see the simple instructions there. I just was like, super blonde, you know what I'm saying? So let me just get right into your introduction.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Welcome to Barrio Mundo, where we explore underground culture, alternative media, and voices shaping our community. Today, our special guest is Sammy Loren, founding editor of On the Rag and Casual Encounters. On the Rag is a physical publication in newspaper form paired with a website where users can anonymously or not post their rants, raves, call-outs, short stories, recipes, nudes, or anything else that comes to mind. Join us as we dive into their inception, favorite works, hot topics, of course, and the literary landscapes of the East and West Coast. This is Barrio Mundo, episode 9, K-Chung, Los Angeles, Tongaland, planet Earth, Milky Way galaxy. All right, so the first question I have for you. So I listened to your the Lit Hub interview, right? So I know like a little, small information.
Yeah, what did you think of that interview?
I thought it was fire, and it really just
shout out to Drew Broussard. He's cool, that guy.
Oh, word.
Especially because it's one thing for K-Chung Radio, which is, a very like iconic, but just like, look at this fucking place. It's like it looks like a squat, It's like I'm gonna get fucking knifed on the way up here, man. And I'm like, it's one thing for K-Chung to invite someone like me on, but for Drew, it's really like touchy, because because Lit Hub is like ground zero for the type of literary world that absolutely hates On the Rag.
Yeah,
they hate everything about it.
That is so crazy.
I'll be surprised if he's got a job at the end of the month. It's like,
that is so just terrifying because, well, one thing that I appreciate about On the Rag is, I've just seen, well, there's so many things, from the Craigslist influence, to what you said about, going to Skylight and, just the pretentiousness of the whole, audience there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that's something that has kept me out of a lot of spaces, you know.
Sure, yeah.
Because, you know, I don't want to have to pull up in a suit and tie everywhere I go, you know, and I don't know. Pretend to be a secret millionaire or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even about to me, it's not even a stylistic issue. It wasn't like about like dressing a certain way or anything like that. It was more, I don't know, it's like, I guess like to get into the origins of it all, it was like, I was, you know, always reading a lot and writing a lot and consuming a lot of literature. And I just, being in LA, it's like you're so disconnected from the wider literary world in a certain sense, because it's like not really here. There's a lot of writers in LA, but there's not like a real, you know, most of the publishers are in New York, all the magazines are in New York, all the editors, all the agents, that like literary world, quote unquote, is there. Whereas like in LA, they'd like parachute into town to places like Skylight. That's where the big writers would come to their, you know, book launches.
Oh yeah.
And they do have an amazing selection. It's an incredible bookshop in its selection and who they can pull. But as like a place of like literary life, it's like, and it's very clinical. It felt really inhospitable. And I was going there. I remember with my now wife, I would go with her. Like we started. She was really encouraging me. Like, let's go together and check it out. And, you know, we were driving over there. We'd go get dinner at the Palermo up the street, get a beer, and then I'd like go in there and like you try to like meet someone. And I started hanging around there, and I tried to hang out. And they truly would just be like, if you're not going to get your book signed, please leave. Like that's what they would say. Crazy. I'm like, dude, this is a failing fucking industry. I can swear here, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a failing. What'd you say?
Every slur.
Every slur available. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, this is a collapsing world. Like, no one buys books, no one reads books, no one cares about books, and you're literally telling us to fucking leave? Like, what? Are you brain dead? Like, what happened to you? So, I don't know, I was still going, and I mean, of course, there was like the literary life and stories, but it hadn't quite like become its own thing yet. It was like, they were doing stuff, but it was a different thing that wasn't really that appealing to me. It was more, in those days, it was more like you know, it was still a lot of the like bus stories. I can't remember what it's called, Busted, I think it's called. It's like people would come talk about riding public transit. So I love that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like, it didn't have this like rich literary life yet. It was more the like AA vibe in the back patio at post AA meetings, like everyone hanging out, drinking coffee, smoking cigs, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that like, they couldn't attract like the big writers really. And well, anyway, after all of that, I finally just started kind of, I basically just was like, well, I have to start my own thing, you know? So I kind of started Casual Encounters and just started hosting readings like with friends in my house, and then we started doing them in like the park by my place. There's like where the tennis courts were in Herman, and it just sort of grew and popped off from there.
Amazing. That's okay, so how did you come up with the name Ontherag? Because that's something that I don't think you mentioned.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like the names, it's funny when I come up with a lot of projects, and I'm like an idea like factory. I'll just like come up with something that's like boom, oh my god, what a fucking golden idea that is. And a lot of times it has to do with the name. Once I come up with the name, it's almost, the name is so good I have to do it. And Ontherag, I don't remember how it came to me, but I just remember being like, that would be the best fucking name for a tabloid ever. Like for a literary tabloid, like On the Rag. And I was out one night with some friends of mine who are big like Casual Encounters, groupies, stands, fans. And I think we were on Figueroa one night. I was with my friend Allison Barr, who's now the romance editor of On the Rag, and our friend Sarah Whitner, who's a real ally. And we were all having drinks, and Allison, we were like partying, and I was telling them about this idea to do it. And then Allison was like, get off the apps, get on the rag. And she kind of came up with the tagline, actually, which I thought was a hilarious tagline. So once we did that, I was like, it just kind of came to me, and I was like, okay, the name is so good, I have to do it. It's like too cool. It was too perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, I guess like what's funny is when I first told people the name of it, friends of mine were like, well, do you know what that means? I'm like, yeah, I know what it means. I'm like, I remember, it's funny because it's such like this misogynistic saying or slur. It's not really a slur, but it's like it's kind of a misogynistic whatever. Like she's on the rag, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like fallen out of use. I would say it's not something I hear people say very often, and I don't think it's because the world is less misogynistic than it was like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I just think it like kind of this like words, the culture, language evolves, it shifts, it changes, and no one really uses it anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought like, who better than me, a straight white guy, to reappropriate on the rag and use it as a term of empowerment?
Yeah, it's like a few other words out there, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's plenty, you know.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say them, but
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, wow, that is so crazy. Can you talk about your upbringing for a little bit? Is that it?
Yeah, sure. Like, what about it?
Well, you mentioned growing up in the Midwest and kind of like being in like the punk scene there.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been writing about it a little bit today for a book review I'm working on. But actually, so I grew up outside Kansas City, and you know, not far, maybe 20 minutes. Like when I was growing up, actually, when I was really a little kid, it was like farmland all around us, and now it's like total suburbia, you know. But it's still quite beautiful area. Like I grew up next to like a little creek and stuff like that, and there was a trail behind my house, and it would flood like crazy and like almost come up to my house, you know. And when I was a boy, I mean, it was really like pure freedom. Like I could go down there and like I would go out after come home from school, and I would just like go run around out there with my friends from the neighborhood, and we'd like build forts and play in the creek and get like super muddy and disgusting and fish and whatever, like play back in the woods and stuff. And like I would stay there until my mom was like screaming my name, like wandering around that whole kind of like air trail that led into a big park, looking for me, you know, at night. But as I grew up, you know, I began and like came of age a little more. Like I fell into the music scene in Kansas City, and there was a really vibrant ska and punk scene in this town by these different bands, like the Uprights, the Sloppy Popsicles, the Gadgets, like bands that no one has ever heard of, the Glitter Kicks, like all these bands that were really important to me as like a 14-year-old. That of course like no one do not exist anymore. You know, that kind of scene was drawing me downtown into then what was a really sort of like post-industrial abandoned city, Midwestern city that was just like full of abandoned buildings, and kids were throwing like punk shows inside buildings, inside basements, and you know, that was sort of the I guess cultural milieu that I kind of like came up in a certain way, and it was a big influence actually. That
Were you writing then?
No, I wasn't into literature quite yet. I mean, I was always reading a lot and loved books and stuff and was reading a lot, but I wasn't writing yet. But I was playing music. I was a musician back then, or wanted to be.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. And so I was like trying to play in bands and get into that scene, and you know, did play in different groups. But I really loved that ethos and like that. You know, its politics in a certain sense always stuck with me. This sort of like counterculture, the like DIY spirit. I mean, especially growing up in Kansas City. I mean, it's super, like when we were kids, it was like, you know, there's no internet, there's none of that. And so it's sort of like, we had the radio, we had, you know, whatever, movies and TV and music, but it was like, I don't know, you know, it was like, in our mind, like if you were in LA, it was like, oh my God, you're living the coolest life. It's super fun. It's super amazing. They're having the time of our lives, whereas like we were like, our lives suck. We were so fucking bored. There's nothing to do. Like literally, I would work at this coffee shop, and this girl lived in this little town over, and I was like, what'd you do last week? And she's like, I went to I went to a party in a field, and like we drank beer and like literally like tipped over cows and had sex in the fucking mud.
Well,
you know?
see, that sounds so wholesome and just I don't know, American. You know, I'm from here, born and raised. You know, I also like came up in the ska and punk scene. You know, like,
oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah. I was like a huge rude boy, like my whole entire life, basically. You know, and that just sounds so wonderful, you know. So like,
Yeah, I mean, it was like a part of like, I mean, it wasn't. I didn't get invited to those parties, and they probably would have kicked my ass if I had shown up. I would have like loved to have gone to them. I mean, I was really dorky and went to like a little small Jewish school. So like, even within that world, we were like in this little micro world, you know, that was super apart from the rest of like the larger culture there. But I don't know. In some sense, that drew me always to these other little like, you know, beatnik scenes, you know, that were sprouting up around like coffee shop. I mean, that was like where the center of the world to me was like the coffee shop, was like hanging around this place called Muddy's with my friends like Jessica Denzer. What's up, Denzer, if you're out there? Jessica Gorman, like these girls that went to school in the city at this Catholic school that they called it STA. It was St. Teresa's Academy, but they nicknamed it Slut Training Academy, of course, you know, that's what they called it. And, you know, they were like the punky rock and roll girls that would like take us into the city. And, you know, I met a lot of these bands like kind of through them, and there was all these groups and, you know, just going to those scenes and stuff. So that always stuck with me, that like DIY culture, you know, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's like that DIY spirit, it's very much why I did any of this stuff. It's like, you know, you kind of have to just create your own world just if you can, you know, your own scene if you need to.
Yeah. Okay, so how often are you like monitoring the site?
It's funny. Yeah.
I just want to ask about like if you have like any favorite posts so far.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll tell you my favorite post. It's on the back of this. I'll read it here.
Oh, yeah.
This is my favorite. Well, here, maybe I should. That's okay. I'll just read the first part. It says, "The guy who runs this is a complete prick."
Oh yeah, I saw that.
From New York. I put it on the back page because I thought it was so hilarious. Yeah. Met you at Confessions, and you interrupted 3 different conversations I was having, so you could talk to the person I was talking to and act like I wasn't there. Wasn't until the 4th conversation you inserted yourself into that someone else, all caps, had to introduce you to me because you didn't think I was important enough to introduce yourself to. That's all I've got on this. Anyway, I need to,
But is that real?
That's real. Someone posted that.
Oh, I see. Because sometimes when I see those posts, like, you know, you really don't know if it's like satire or, you know, so.
Hold on a second. Someone said something to me. Can't read on screen. I don't know. That's from Ruby's document. I don't think she realizes we're on there. That's okay. Sorry, not wrong. False alarm. Okay.
No, it's okay. Actually, one of my online questions was about the name. Where did it come from?
Which name?
Ontherag.
Like I said, it's I just said, you know, obviously it has its whole history and connotation, and I thought it was, you know, it's like I said, it's a word that sort of has fallen out of use.
Oh yeah.
Entirely. Like it's not something I haven't heard someone say that about a woman, and since I was like in middle school probably.
Yeah.
You know. And like I said, I don't think it's because the world men are any less misogynistic than they were like 20 plus years ago. Maybe a little bit, I don't know, but like I don't think it's because we've been evolved. I just think it sort of just fell out of use, probably because it's from like the 50s or something, you know. It's just like an old insult. Yeah. And I just was like, it's like a great play on words. Like rag is a term that's used for a newspaper, and I don't know, I just thought like that would be a really funny, you know, it's like a great, like the spirit of it is perfect. It's like ornery, it's bitchy, it's like feisty, it's like, you know, it punches back is sort of the spirit of it. So that's where the name came to.
Alright, excellent. I think that's a good place for us to take a quick break. I just want to say I picked up my copy of On the Rag yesterday or the day before. You can pick yours up from Stories. What is their full name? I don't remember. Stories and Books.
Stories, Books, and Cafe.
Yeah, something like that.
It's on Sunset and
Echo Park.
Yeah, in Echo Park. Probably the only bookshop in LA. That's what they go by. And then also you can pick it up at North Figueroa Bookshop in Highland Park.
All right.
And also at Crooked Skylight. They just bought a few copies. It's there too.
Amazing. Yeah, so you guys be sure to go out and get your copy of On the Rag, be a part of history, and we will be right back. This is episode 9 of Audio Mundo. Yeah. We're back. So what have been some of the challenges that On the Rag has faced?
what have been some of the challenges? I mean, just getting it up. It's launching a newspaper.
Oh yeah. Well.
Oh.
Okay. We're gonna be back.
Okay.
All right. We're back. This is Volume 1, episode 9, broadcasting live on kchung.org. For beautiful Chinatown, Los Angeles. We're back with Sammy, Loren from Ontherag and Casual Encounters. All right. So, I want to ask you.
Tell me.
How would you compare the alt-lit scenes between the East and West Coast? We kind of touched on that.
I can get into that more.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going back live. You want to repeat the question for the live audience?
Okay. How would you compare the alternative literature and media scenes between the East and West Coast?
So that's a really contentious and a really loaded question, actually. I'm happy to get into it.
Yeah.
I'm Michael Leviton, High Volta Collective. Shout out to my 2 biggest fans. So the question was, how would I compare LA, like literary life, and East Coast underground literary life? And I think the biggest thing is that LA's literary life is a much gentler, LA's underground literary scene is a much gentler place because it's insulated, being that it's in LA and very far from the centers of literary power and money.
Yeah.
It's very insulated from those worlds and very estranged from those worlds, I think. You know, a lot of the kids that are into literary life in LA, you know, they read a lot, they write a lot, they go to readings constantly, they start their own little literary journals and stuff like that, they start their own reading series, but they're totally, for the most part, alienated from like maybe it's too heavy-handed to say, but like the means of production are like,
yes.
They're totally alienated from that to a certain extent because they're based in LA, they don't understand. I truly think it's like they're ignorant of like how the literary world kind of functions in a professionalized way.
Yeah.
And so like the stakes are really different here. Here it's like, oh my God, I really want to get into, you know, I really want to read at Casual Encounters. I really like, why haven't I got to read at like, you know, the Big Ones thing? You know, I didn't get into the Big One. It's a different journal that was started by Dow Sones and Joe Settestone, these 2 writers here. You know, I want to read a Factory Made or something like that. It's kind of this like different game where people are playing here. Whereas like in New York, it's like, why didn't I get a $500,000 advance on my novel? You know, it's like it's like a totally fucking different world. And you know, there's when you go to readings in LA, it's like beatniks, bohemians, drug addicts, DJs, you know, kids, scenesters. Like something I always loved about the Casual Encounters is like kids that are like, I'm like, oh, what do you do? They're like, oh, I work at like an Amazon fulfillment center, you know?
Exactly.
It's like, that's fucking cool. It's like, what do you do? It's like, you know, I like work at a barista, I work at a restaurant, I do this, I'm a dancer, you know, whatever. And it's like, in New York, it's like, you know, I went to Columbia, I have an MFA. I went to NYU, I have an MFA. I'm getting it, I just got an MFA. I'm working on my novel, I have an agent, I'm talking to editors, I write for the New Yorker. It's like far more professionalized. Yeah. And there's a lot more of that. There's a lot more at stake in a certain sense because like they're aware of that world and know that they can do it. Now there is a really vibrant underground literary scene in New York too. That's a lot of fun. I'm thinking of like Confessions. They're really cool. It's run by Cassidy O'Grady and Annabelle Boardman is her last name. And I met Annabelle at Casual Encounters here in LA, and then she moved to New York and started her own thing. And it's like, you know, she's doing cool stuff out there, I think. And then there's like, you know, Peter Back is like running, you know, goes to 50 fucking readings a night. And, you know, there's a lot of different stuff happening in New York too. That's a lot of fun. I just like, for the most part, it's got more of a relationship to the power structure of publishing because that's where it all is. It's all in New York City.
Yeah. So why is that? What do you think fuels those regional distinctions?
Well, like I said, it's all about the money and power of publishing is in New York. LA's got Hollywood, you know? I think if you, I imagine it's kind of like swapped in a certain sense. If you want to be like, I'm sure there's like a whole film world in LA where it's like you're trying to make movies and the stakes at those parties or in those screenings or whatever are very real to people, because it's like everyone's like, so you know, people that have agents, you know, people who've got, you know, managers and like have connected into the Hollywood system and the studios. And it's similar like in New York, you know, with the publishing, where there's like editors and all the publishing houses are there and yada yada yada.
Yeah. Excellent. So next question I have for you is, what are some challenges that Ontherag has faced in maintaining its voice and independence?
That's a really good question. I mean, the hardest thing is just the energy and time to get it off the ground. You know, it's kind of a, you know, it's not only a one-man show. There's a lot of people that wrote for it, and, you know, there's some very select people that have like really gone out of the way to help me with it, you know. My designer, for example, was like really lifted a lot of weight and stood with me like to get this thing, like the aesthetics of it and to make it right. That took a lot of work and a lot of trial by error, because it's actually very technical skill to print newsprint.
Oh yeah.
More so than almost, I think, like a regular magazine or a different literary format. It's just printing on newsprint is very technical with like the ink and the color and the way it can bleed and the way it dries and stuff like that. And her name's Julia Mule, shout out Julia. And she was really helpful. And then, you know, getting the website up and running was a fucking catastrophe and an odyssey, you know. I don't even want to get into it, but there was like, you know, a scammer, total fraud, tried to steal the whole thing.
Wow.
And, you know, it's fine. You know, the thing is when you have good ideas, people try to leech off of you, you know, that's the way it is. If you have like magic, everyone's like leeching off of you, but you know what? You got to think about what Nietzsche said. True strength is not to lash out and to do anything. Strength is to just be like, let them leech. It's okay. That's strength. They can leech off you, it doesn't even matter. You don't care. Yeah. So that's how I feel. I'm like, it's okay, steal the ideas. Dude, you know this, there's some newspaper in New York called On the Rack, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
A couple of crooks, I don't know how, they just like snatch it up, they're like running off to the races, some, you know, garbage art galleries financing the whole thing, they do their own little thing, you know. It's like everyone's trying to snatch everything you got, you know, but it's okay, it's all right. I'm all zen about it now.
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar place when it comes to that, you know, kind of thing. You know, I've definitely had a few concepts and ideas hijacked. You know,
Sure.
I definitely felt a way about it. I mean, I still do feel a way about it to this day. You know, but it doesn't eat at me the way that it used to. I mean. But I think that is definitely a fire quote that you said, you know, should just let them leech, you know, like.
Yeah, I'm always like, you know, it's theft is flat, it's like flattering in a way, you know, it's like, I don't care. It's also, it's like, ideas are cheap. I really think that. It doesn't matter what the idea is. Ideas are cheap. What matters is who has the resilience and the determination and the will to like keep doing it and make it cool and execute it well and have like the vision and the artistry to make it like sharp, you know, because there's a lot of ways to do things and there's a lot of journals out there, and I see a lot of them and I'm like impressed by them. I like them. I think they're fun to read and I think they're cool, but I'll submit to them sometimes even, but I think a lot of them are, in the end, they're just a fucking journal. There's nothing that interesting about it. They're not like playing with form. I don't really sense that they're like on the edge of like, you know, to stay on the edge of like the cultural fault line is like a magic skill. It's like dancing between the raindrops in a way. And I've always felt like, maybe I'm being crazy, but I do think On the Rag and Casual Encounters does like thread that very delicate balance of like, you know, not of like staying quite on the line of it all, you know, and like along that fall, like dancing along it, the razor's edge, and never like falling off to the side and not like getting boring, and that's why it feels fresh, you know, I think. And that's like hard to do, and not everyone can do it, so.
Yeah. All right, so we're coming up on our last 30 minutes. I have a couple more questions for you, and then we can read a piece.
Let's do it, man, I'm ready.
Right. So if you could feature any writer or cultural figure, living or dead, who would it be?
Zadie Smith. Boom.
Who is that?
Who is Zadie Smith?
Okay,
Come on, dog.
So, I mean, I'm not that. I don't know about books. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm just fucking with you.
I'm picking up. Oh yeah.
I don't care.
So I'm picking up whatever someone who I know knows about that stuff, like whatever they're telling me, like that's how I'm finding my pathway into this.
Yeah, no worries. Zadie Smith is a British novelist.
Oh, okay.
She's half Jamaican, half British, I think, or I can't remember. Yeah, and she's written a lot of really great books that I think are amazing, and I think she's a really interesting thinker and a really great. I love her fiction, and I think her voice is she's not online, she's not on the internet at all.
Oh, I see.
I've heard she just uses a dumb phone. I've never met her. I've always wanted to meet her.
Oh,
I
so
think
still alive.
Still alive, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's probably 50, something like that. 50 in her 50s, something like that. She had her first book, White Teeth. She was 24 years old, crazy novel, one of my favorites. I've read it a few times. I love all of her work, and part of what I love about her is she does not essentialize people. She does that. She's from another. Her work is really interesting because it does not essentialize people. It's she doesn't essentialize people based on their race, their gender, any of that stuff. And I think that's what is the magic of fiction, is that it breaks it does the opposite of whatever essentializing people does. It complexifies people and makes them more complicated, and that's something to me she'd be a star to be in this. I would love to put her on it.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
And where do you see Ontherag going in the next 5 years?
It will be a daily. I want to put the New York Times out of business.
Oh, yeah.
Daily newspaper, or put the LA Times out of business.
They're both failing, so
majorly.
I think,
and put LARB out of business. It's time.
Yeah.
Ontherag needs to do a hostile takeover of some people. It's time to do it.
Yeah. Also, another thing that Ontherag reminds me of is the LA Express. They would have some of the ads in there for the masseuses.
Yeah.
The thick lady masseuses.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Those are real, by the way.
Yeah.
The for all these Salvadorian.
Oh yeah,
chicks.
exactly.
That stuff is great.
Exactly. Yeah. So LA Express. I don't think, maybe they went under recently. I don't know if they exist anymore, but yeah. Okay. So, any final thoughts or recommendations for people looking to expand their literary horizons, like me?
Yeah, I think a good place to do it is, go. But honestly, it's truly. I'm not just saying this because it's my shit. I'm go to a Casual Encounters and go look at On the Rack. That's where a lot of good literature is coming out of. I think a lot of cool literature came out of. A lot of young writers came out of On the Rack. Casual Encounters, sorry. They got a lot of them, they're started doing readings at it, and then started their own readings, and now have magazines, and have their own series and stuff, and publish their own books and stuff like that. And I do think it's a good place for people who aren't necessarily always gonna go to stories and go to Skylight and want to get into read a whole book. It's kind of a more fun way to get into literature, probably.
Yeah, I went to that reading at in the basement or underground part.
At Leroy's?
I don't remember.
Around the corner from here.
Yeah.
That was the first On the Rack.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Over the holidays.
I don't remember.
There was that truck.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah. So I went there straight from work, so I got there and it was already over.
Okay.
So
that doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
that was a really fun one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because people read from Ontherag.vip. They read.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went on to On the Rag. I was you can read anything you want. You can publish anything you want. Just go to just put it on the Rag or take it from On the Rag, and you can read whatever you want from the archives, so to speak. And so that was what we did. That was a really fun one. I'm glad you made it to that.
Oh yeah. So, in the future though, could you guys go maybe another hour or something like that? Because my schedule, by the time I get off work at 7, you know what I'm saying? By the time I get home, change, leave, you know what I'm saying? It's 8:30, 9.
No, of course. No, we can go later next time. If you let us know, I'll wait for you to come. Dude, we'll throw you in the lineup, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I would love that. You know, definitely got to prepare for that, you know, because nerves, you know.
Yeah. It's can be nerve wracking. People shake up there.
Oh yeah. Well, that makes me feel good because, you know, everyone, like, you know, everyone just seems so professional and, you know, like they've been doing that for years. I mean, I'm sure they have been, but, you know.
Oh no, I mean, when I first started hosting casual encounters, I was like so fucking nervous. So nervous. You can't imagine how much anxiety I had hosting those things.
Yeah.
And I remember I talked to my friend Ellington Wells, who's a comedian, a stand-up comic, and you may have met her around.
Yeah,
She's still in LA.
I think they did Cha-Cha with Tashi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ellington. It was called Blackberry Jam.
Yeah, you know a lot of black people.
I do. I've met a lot in my life.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
Well, because, you know, like, it seems like there's not, I mean, I don't know. I don't try to judge, but,
Sure.
you know, past experiences, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no, the lib world is white as fuck.
Yeah.
It is, you know.
Yeah.
There's tons of really amazing black writers, you know, like, well, for example, on my masthead is a writer I really admire and respect a lot named Alexis Okoo. She's a New Yorker writer. She's writes nonfiction books, and she's working on a novel, I think. But, you know, her family's from fucking Nigeria, you know. She's Nigerian. And, you know, she's like a major figure in my literary life because we're super tight and blah, blah, blah. You know, also another person on the masthead is a black woman is Alexis Oliver, different Alexis, who's like the fashion director.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you know, a major influence on me. She's probably in her, you know, I don't want to dox her, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She's a smoking hot, like, beautiful black woman in LA who's like been a major influence on it. And of course, like, I always actually, you know, with pride say this, that I really do work hard to curate diverse lineups, you know, not in a tokenizing way. I just think it's like it's like a lot of these readings you go to that, you know, it's just like all white kids, you know, and I'm not saying that's a problem. You can also, like, there are times when I have my readings are just like all white people. A lot of white people have great fucking stuff to say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, not every time, you know, and it's like there's a lot of different writers from a lot of different backgrounds, and so for me it's always been important to try to, like, you know, include lots of different, you know, voices and backgrounds and styles. And, you know, something I'm really proud of is that you look through the archives. You can go to casualencounters.com. I have photos from all the readings, every single reading.
Oh yeah,
and they're pretty mixed, you know.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, and the one, I'm sorry, what was the gallery again? Solomon. I mean, no, the one down the street.
Oh, Leroy's.
Yeah. Oh, Leroy, another black name.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, oh man, they got the sisters in here. I was like, oh, okay. You know, but yeah, man, you know, just like you said, like, white environments, sometimes, you know, it's just.
Yeah, no, I get it. It can be, I'm sure, like, especially if you're not from the literary world and you're like, you know, exactly. a black person or from a different community, you know, it's like, it's not necessarily always like, especially like people from like immigrant backgrounds, I find it's like, they come to these things and they're like, I didn't even know it was like a thing. You could be like an artist or a writer because like their family's from fucking Pakistan or something. That's like one of the posters. Someone that posts all the time on Ontherag is this person named Hina.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen her.
Yeah.
Dude, she posts all the time. And I bumped into her, like, we had a weird way of meeting, but I bumped into her later at this like bagel shop in my neighborhood. And I was like, yo, I'm doing this reading. You should just like come read at it, you know? Her family's from Pakistan, you know? She's like, didn't know you could be a writer, you know, until she like came to this thing and then like was like, wait a minute, that's like a thing. Who the fuck knew? That's crazy. And now she like is writing all the time and like has this like rich artistic life on it, you know? And I'm not saying like she wouldn't have found that eventually, but like I think like, you know, just doing the small gesture of being like, yeah, throw you in there, I don't care. Like, I'm unprecious about these things. You know, it's just fucking reading. Like, I'll throw people in based on a vibe sometimes. Yeah. You know, I didn't know her work. I was just like, I like your spirit, you know? And so, anyway, I'm glad you caught on that because that's important to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I have a similar perspective also. You know, I'm first generation, you know what I'm saying? And
where's your family from?
Belize and Honduras.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And Yeah, so like the whole like art thing, like anything creative, I had a very late awakening to legitimate possibilities that could come from any of that type of stuff, yeah, so yeah, anyways, moving on. We got 20 minutes left, so you want to pick a piece to read?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, what should I read? I'm gonna read is a poem by a writer I really like, who's I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
Named Zara Schuster.
Okay. Where are they from?
Zara's from LA, I'm pretty sure. But I didn't meet Zara until kind of recently. She lived in, her mom is from Iran, and her dad is American. And she was my intern for a little while and was one of my favorite interns. What's up? Dude, major figure just joined the IG feed. Andrew Berardini, amazing art critic. Rumor is also that Berardini may be Diva Corp. We don't know. What's up, Berardini?
Oh, okay. Are they anonymous?
But Diva Corp is anonymous.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Diva Corp. Someone tell Diva Corp to join the On the Rag live show on K-Chung Radio. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a poem. It's called Bus Poem Number 9 by Zara Schuster. I'm gonna read it. It's in the first issue of On the Rag. You can go buy a copy at Stories. You can buy a copy at Failing Skylight. You can buy a copy at North Fig, and it's if you're in New York City, it's at Casa Magazine. Or you can just hit me up and I'll get you a copy. Okay. So Bus Poem Number 9 by Zara Schuster. Walking from point A, Fairfax, to point B, the Garden in Mid-City, 1 hour and 45 minutes along a path that is lined wall to wall with palm trees. Only 5 years until all the palm trees in the city collapse simultaneously. Je suis mon putain chemin de vie, je lui a dit. It wasn't spoken with aggression, or maybe it was. C'est un homme, Dieu, c'est un homme phantasmagorique, c'est un homme qu'on implore et redoute, le bouc émissaire chargé de tous les mots qui nous frappent. I may not have always promised myself I'd never, would love to write in franglais. I'm easily influenced. Scream it in my face, man. I'm a woman. God, I'm a woman. Spooky, I'm a woman. The scapegoat responsible for all the evils that strike us. Now he's crying. The palm trees start falling. She's starting to felt this big city. With it comes its fair share of hustlers, ex-cons, and soon-to-be brides. She's starting to saw that she's still the same little girl, except now she takes it raw. That's pretty fucking dirty, man. Okay. As in uncooked, rare, unheated, underdone, half-baked, not cooked, nor well. She has visions about when the soup will thaw, but the soup always seems to return itself idly back into the freezer. All the clever ones are still the same, identical, similar, comparable, no different from the other.
Wow.
That's a poem by Zara Schuster. That's just one of the things you can get in this. I could read another thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Why not?
Yeah.
I'll read one more thing. I actually am gonna read my letter from the editor. This is something I wrote. It's the only thing I wrote in this paper. I edited everything, but this is one of the only things I actually wrote. It's sort of like my manifesto about what I think, it is. So I'll give it a little read. So it opens up with 2 song lyrics. It's from the song Strange Days by The Doors. Strange days have found us, strange days have tracked us down. So sang Jim Morrison in 1967, either a prophet or a clown, depending on who you ask. Lately his lyrics sound more and more uncanny. There's something undeniably comical, surreal, and disturbing about our current moment. America seems like a carnival or a snuff film, and few seem interested in diagnosing our nation's mesmerizing and revolting talent to be both at once. They call this the, quote, golden age of information. Tsunamis of Substacks and podcasts, social platforms for every flavor of psychopath, the miserable parade of television, and of course the rotting corpses of the legacy media. And yet we all submit to the con. All this content, just garbage that feels incapable of documenting, much less comprehending the real nature of the American berserk. Then we have the humble tabloid. Ridiculed as salacious and cheap, mocked for covering slime and sleaze, tabloids ironically present one of the few honest portraits of America, our obsessions and manias, our libidos and drives. Tabloids are really the it of the journalistic psyche, unmasking impulses and murky desires that the potty-trained establishment would much rather repress. On the Rag strips away the pretense of objectivity and authority, slaughters journalism's sacred cows, and dynamites its standards. We recognize that sometimes the only way to see clearly in a fever dream is, to borrow the words from another countercultural madman, to turn on, tune in, and drop out.
Alright, that was excellent. This was episode 9 of Vagamundo. We'll be back April 30th, I think. Maybe April 16th, April 30th for sure, with Eddie Jr. from the Record Club. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Sammy, again for pulling up. Make sure you guys follow Ontherag.vip and Casual Encounters with a Z at the end, and get up on Ontherag.vip on the web and leave a piece there. Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Thanks for having me, Eric.
All right. Amazing.
Dude, that was great.
Yeah, it was. A lot of pertinent information there. I'm gonna play something from your favorite artist.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m.